Have you ever wondered how the nation of Israel, as we know it from the Bible, came to be? Well, it started with a man named Abraham who entered into a covenant with God. This agreement, known as the Abrahamic Covenant, was more than just a contract. It was a divine promise that Abraham's descendants would inherit the land of Canaan, the future land of Israel. Abraham's son, Isaac, was the next significant figure in this narrative. Isaac's life was marked by trials and tribulations, but he too received God's promise, ensuring that the covenant made with Abraham would continue through his lineage. Isaac's story takes us on a journey of faith and obedience, setting the stage for the next chapter in the Genesis of Israel. Enter Jacob, Isaac's son. Jacob's life was a whirlwind of struggle and strife, but through it all, he remained steadfast in his faith. His story is a testament to the power of perseverance and divine providence. Jacob had 12 sons, each of whom would become the patriarch of one of the 12 tribes of Israel. This marked a significant milestone in the formation of the nation of Israel. The 12 tribes, each with its own unique identity and purpose, played a crucial role in shaping the nation of Israel. They were more than just families. They were the building blocks of a nation, each contributing to the collective identity of Israel. The tribes were united by their common heritage, their shared faith, and their commitment to the divine covenant. The formation of the 12 tribes was a pivotal moment in the Genesis of Israel. It marked the transition from a family to a nation, from a lineage to a collective. It was through these tribes that Israel, as we know it from the Bible, truly began to take shape. The early beginnings of Israel, from Abraham's covenant with God to the formation of the 12 tribes, are more than just stories. They are foundational narratives that provide insight into the character, faith, and resilience of a nation. And thus, the birth of a nation began, not through war or conquest, but through a divine promise. From humble beginnings, the Israelites found themselves in a land not their own. But how did they end up in Egypt? Well, the tale is as fascinating as it is profound. The story begins with a young man named Joseph, the favorite son of his father Jacob. Joseph was envied by his brothers, who, unable to bear his favored status, sold him into slavery. However, destiny had its own plans, and Joseph, from the pits of despair, rose to become the second most powerful man in Egypt, right after Pharaoh himself. This was made possible by his ability to interpret dreams, a gift that saved Egypt from 7 years of famine and propelled Joseph to his high position. When the famine hit Canaan, where Jacob and his family resided, they had no choice but to seek aid in Egypt. Unbeknownst to them, they were appealing to Joseph, their long-lost brother, who had the power to grant or deny their request. Moved by their plight and recognizing them as his kin, Joseph revealed his identity and welcomed his family into Egypt, effectively relocating the Israelites to this foreign land. For a time, the Israelites prospered in Egypt. But as the generations passed, the pharaohs forgot Joseph and his contributions. The Israelites, once welcomed guests, now found themselves enslaved, their numbers seen as a threat by the Egyptian rulers. In this period of harsh slavery, a child was born who was destined to change the course of history. This child was Moses. Raised in the Pharaoh's palace, yet aware of his Hebrew roots, he was torn between two worlds. His life took a drastic turn when he witnessed an Egyptian taskmaster brutally beating a Hebrew slave. In a fit of rage, Moses killed the taskmaster, setting in motion a series of events that would lead him to become the liberator of his people. In the crucible of Egypt, the Israelites would be shaped and tested, setting the stage for one of the most epic stories of liberation in history. From slavery to freedom, the Exodus represents a pivotal point in the history of Israel. But what led to this monumental event? Enter Moses, a man chosen by God to lead the Israelites out of their bondage in Egypt. Moses, a Hebrew by birth but raised in the Egyptian royal court, was chosen for a mission of divine proportions. Struggling with his identity and mission, Moses' journey was not without its trials. His first encounter with God was through a burning bush, a divine fire that did not consume. Here God gave Moses his mission, to lead his people out of Egypt. But Pharaoh, the ruler of Egypt, was not willing to let his labor force go so easily. Thus came the 10 plagues, a series of divine catastrophes designed to convince Pharaoh to release the Israelites. From turning the Nile into blood to a final devastating blow, the death of every firstborn Egyptian child, these plagues were a display of God's power and judgment. When Pharaoh finally relented, the Israelites began their long journey towards freedom, an event now commemorated in the Jewish holiday of Passover. This exodus, however, was not just a physical journey. It was a spiritual trek as well, a transformation of a group of slaves into a nation under God. This transformation reached its peak at Mount Sinai. Here, amid thunder and lightning, Moses received the Ten Commandments directly from God. These 10 Commandments would serve as the moral and ethical foundation of the Israelite society, defining their relationship with God and each other. The Exodus, thus, was not just about the liberation of a people, it was about the formation of an identity, a unique relationship between God and his chosen people. It was about the birth of a nation that would endure trials and tribulations, to ultimately emerge as a beacon of faith and resilience. The Exodus was not just a journey of physical liberation but also a spiritual journey, defining the unique relationship between God and his chosen people. Now free from the shackles of Egypt, the Israelites had to secure a home. But what challenges awaited them in the land of Canaan? Under the stewardship of Joshua, a man of valor and faith, the Israelites embarked on a mission to conquer Canaan, the Promised Land. The task was colossal, for Canaan was a land of fortified cities and powerful kings, yet imbued with divine guidance, the Israelites were undeterred. The first major obstacle came in the form of Jericho, a city with massive walls that seemed unassailable. But faith works in miraculous ways. Following divine instructions, the Israelites marched around the city for 7 days. And on the 7th day, with a thunderous shout and the sound of trumpets, the walls of Jericho crumbled. The city was conquered, paving the way for the Israelites into Canaan. But the conquest was far from over. Battles ensued, cities were seized, and kings were defeated. Notably, the sun stood still during the Battle of Gibeon, giving Joshua and his men the daylight they needed to secure victory. The conquest of Canaan was a series of divine interventions, a testament to the unyielding faith of the Israelites. As the conquest progressed, the land was divided among the 12 tribes of Israel. Each tribe, from Judah in the south to Dan in the north, established its own territory, laying the groundwork for a nation. This was a significant shift for the Israelites. They transitioned from a nomadic existence to a settled nation, laying the foundation for the future kingdom of Israel. However, the conquest of Canaan was not just about acquiring land. It was about fulfilling a divine promise. It was about establishing a covenant community under the laws and guidance of God. It was about transforming a group of escaped slaves into a nation that would eventually influence the world. The conquest of Canaan marked the transition from a nomadic existence to a settled nation, a crucial step in the evolution of Israel. From a loose confederation of tribes, Israel evolved into a powerful kingdom. But how did this transformation occur? It was a journey marked by leadership, faith, and divine intervention. In the early days, the Israelites were led by judges, but as threats from surrounding nations grew, they sought a king to unite and lead them. Enter Saul, the first king of Israel. Despite his initial successes, Saul's reign was marred by disobedience and paranoia, leading to his tragic end on the battlefield. Emerging from Saul's shadow, a shepherd boy named David took the throne. Known for his bravery and faith, David is remembered for slaying the giant Goliath, capturing the city of Jerusalem, and establishing it as the capital of Israel. His reign marked a golden era of peace, prosperity, and expansion. On David's death, the throne passed to his son Solomon. Known far and wide for his wisdom, Solomon's most significant achievement was the construction of the first temple in Jerusalem. This grand edifice became the religious heart of Israel, housing the Ark of the Covenant and serving as a symbol of God's presence amongst his people. However, all was not well in the kingdom. Following Solomon's death, the kingdom split into the northern kingdom of Israel and the southern kingdom of Judah. This division marked the beginning of a tumultuous period of internal strife and external threats. Through the rise and fall of kings, the construction of grand temples, and the division of their kingdom, the Israelites continued to shape their identity. They remained a people united not by a common king or a shared territory, but by an enduring faith and a divine covenant. In their kings and their temples, the Israelites sought to express their unique identity, a testament to their enduring faith and resilience.